Hello, everyone. Welcome to Daily Tech News Show video. I'm Tom Merritt, the host of Daily Tech News Show, with my co-host, Veronica Belmont.
Hello.
Hello, Veronica.
Hello, Tom.
The first people watching this for the first time would be like, wow, I heard the show was really stiff, but gee. Are you ready to sling some tech headlines?
Yeah, man. Let me close some things that are making internet be slower.
Stop making things be slower. Things.
Thing, 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 thing.
Big Jim said, best NPR voices ever. This is Daily Tech News Show. Daily Tech News Show is underwritten through a grant from you.
You, our viewers.
Viewers like you. But not you, but like you. Our viewers like you.
We really like you.
All right, you ready?
Sure.
Let's do this. Here we go.
In a world where technology changes faster than the human race can adapt, there's only one place to turn. The Daily Tech News Show with Tom Merritt and guests. But they need your help. Go to dailytechnewsshow.com to find out how.
This is the Daily Tech News for Monday, May 16th, 2016. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me today, Veronica Belmont, whose last name means beautiful mountain.
That's right, Tom.
That's all you need to know. You can follow her on Twitter, twitter.com/Veronica, co-host of The Sword and Laser, woman about the internet. How's that?
That's good. I'm going to, I got my beautiful Bot Wiki shirt on today. That's a site that I'm an admin for. So if you want to learn how to make bots, I'm going to buzz market myself at the end of this episode instead of the top of the episode.
I like it.
All right.
We're going to talk about whether you should be prevented by law from sending emails from work after work hours. But let's start with the headlines. Google has outlined a plan to make HTML5 default in Chrome instead of Flash starting in the fourth quarter of 2016. They plan to make it so that sites that use Flash will cause a prompt to appear asking the user if they really want to enable Flash on the site. You really want to do that? They'll exempt the top 10 sites that use Flash. They'll make a whitelist of those so that they're not over-prompting people, but that whitelist will expire after a year to give those sites time to adapt. The top 10 sites that use Flash today are Google's own YouTube.com, although it does default to HTML5. Facebook.com, Yahoo.com, VK.com, Live.com, Yandex.ru, OK.ru, Twitch.tv, Amazon.com, and Mail.ru. Google will stop using Flash display ads itself on January 2nd. So even Adobe doesn't care if you use Flash anymore, to be honest, but this is another nail in the coffin.
I'm excited for this. I think it's a very good idea, and I think the internet will be better for it. AT&T announced that it will acquire QuickPlay Media, a video streaming platform that powers its Uverse and DirecTV streaming services. QuickPlay also serves Verizon, Bell, Rogers, Samsung, TELUS, SiriusXM, Vodafone, and AccuWeather, Bloomberg Television, and more. Oh, missed a comma there. AT&T says that QuickPlay will continue to serve its existing global customer base.
Yeah, so this is smart. I find it intriguing that AT&T, one of the companies that doesn't want to be a dumb pipe, right? They're like, they've been trying to figure out how to monetize your connection, and data caps are one of the reasons. We have data caps are companies trying to figure out how to monetize connections. That's why they don't give you unlimited internet on your wireless carrier. Yet, this is the way you don't be a dumb pipe. Make the pipes dumb. The pipes work best when they're dumb. Let's be honest. But you can be the company that provides the services that deliver the bandwidth-intensive things over the internet. Now, BAM Media from Major League Baseball is up for sale, but that's pretty pricey. They're one of the leaders. So AT&T buying QuickPlay Media seems like a really smart acquisition.
I didn't know that MLB's version was also up for sale. They're trying to offload it?
Yeah, they are spinning it out, and they don't want to be the majority owner anymore. Disney's been sniffing around, but this is a hot commodity right now, and AT&T, I think, was clever to pounce on it right away. This is the kind of thing that can you can then say, all right, you know what? Our legacy service will either spin out on its own as a commodity business, or we'll just, keep it running at break even, and we'll make money by providing the services that run on the internet. Particularly video is just going to grow and grow and grow.
Mm-hmm.
Wall Street Journal sources say Amazon will launch new private label brands for consumables, things like nuts, spices, tea, coffee, baby food, vitamins within the next month.
Oh.
House brands will carry names like Happy Belly, Wickedly Prime, and Mama Bear, and be available only to Amazon Prime customers. That's kind of typical. Amazon has several house brands already. They sell phone cases, paper products, even some clothing.
I'm very intrigued to see what these things will be like and how they will compare to other typical name brands, though I guess it's the same as a Whole Foods or a Safeway having their own label versions of
Safeway
items.
Select, or at Ralph's, they have their own Kroger brands, because Kroger owns Ralph's. And
they all come from the same manufacturers typically anyway.
Oh, yeah. I've told the story probably before. Some of you may have heard it. My dad, who worked in dairy science, who's a food scientist, brought me into a warehouse in Coldwater, Ohio when I was young and showed me all these different cans of evaporated milk with different labels. And he was like, they all came out of the same vat. They just slapped different labels on them.
Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway disclosed a regulatory filing Monday that it owns around 9.81 million shares in Apple, worth approximately $1.07 billion. Buffett told the Wall Street Journal he was not the person behind the holding, meaning it was likely Todd Combs or Ted Weschler.
Yeah, so those are the two people that are sort of the heirs apparent to Buffett at Berkshire Hathaway. He has been a little resistant to tech stocks over the years, and they are very volatile. So, I don't want to get in a whole Warren Buffett thing, but it is significant that Berkshire Hathaway, at this point in time, when people are saying, not sure about Apple, you see activist investor Carl Icahn moving off of Apple, getting rid of his position, and Berkshire Hathaway is like, oh yeah, now's a good time. We buy undervalued companies, so we're going to pour and $1 billion, honestly, is not that much as a percentage of Apple. It's and certainly a small position even for Berkshire Hathaway.
It's approximately equal to one Didi Kawadi.
They spent one Didi Kawadi. Do you think I know it doesn't work that way, but I like to think that they wanted to invest in Didi Kawadi or Didi Chuxing,
the new name,
and they're like, hey, Warren, are you gonna put $1 billion in? Because then we can afford to put $1 billion in. Great. We're gonna take that $1 billion from Warren and we're gonna stick it over.
That's just how a P&L works, right, Tom?
Exactly.
So, okay.
Samsung has received a patent for a small projector that can display UI elements on skin and read behaviors to translate into mobile or virtual actions. PC Mag notes Carnegie Mellon researchers introduced Skin Track last month, which is a similar system for turning your arm or hand into a touchscreen. That system uses a high-frequency AC signal emitting ring to communicate with electrodes in a wristband. It's a patent. Doesn't mean it's coming to market. And the Carnegie Mellon research has shown that sweating causes a real problem with these sorts of things.
What does this look like? This looks like that there was a phone device that looked like this from a sci-fi film, and I can't remember which one. I can picture the scene of the guy using it, but I can't picture what film it's from. Anyway, someone out there, oh gosh. Oh, I can't remember. Oh well, it'll come to me tomorrow.
Do we want this?
I don't need this, no, Tom.
I mean, I'm not sure. I guess the idea of a wrist-worn device that then projects a screen onto my arm is impressive, but then I'd have to be pulling up my sleeves when I'm wearing long sleeves, and I don't know.
Yeah, I already have that problem with looking at my watch as it is.
I think it's a classic, like, really impressive
Total
to
Recall.
see done.
It was the new.
Oh,
I
it
think
was Total Recall.
It was the. I think it was the new Total Recall. Thank you, Silverblade.
Gotcha. Thank
Yes.
you, Silverblade.
My turn. All right. The Telegraph reports the BBC is planning to partner with ITV on a streaming service to be called, wait for it, Britflix. The BBC did mention developing an additional subscription service in its latest 10-year plan, though it did not give any more details.
Britflix. That I would see that definitely being sort of a code word in-house. So what's the latest on the Britflix program? When you're updating the project management team, would they really call it that though?
Yeah, it seems unlikely, but it maybe it's one of those things where enough people say it and it gets so embedded in users' brains that then it just makes sense to call it that thing.
Yeah,
so we could be at fault.
I definitely want this. My fear is that it's because the BBC has its own BBC America issues about what can be played here. They also license things to PBS, so does ITV, that I'm not going to get the version here in the United States that I want, which is essentially paying for the British license and getting everything that's on the iPlayer right now if I were actually a citizen in the United Kingdom.
Oh, drives me nuts.
I know. Google introduced a new app today called Spaces. It combines Chrome, YouTube, and search and lets you choose items to conduct conversations about with a group. Tap something to create a topic, and then you can invite people however you want. You can use email, social network. They even say you can use other means. It's just a link. Rolls out today for Android, iOS, and the web with a Gmail account. You can access it on the web. Haven't got a chance to play around with it yet, but everyone was writing it up today.
So it was a thing people were talking about, so therefore we are also talking about it.
I don't see who this gets to use it because I have to download an app, or even on the web, I have to go to a thing and then get other people to share. I already have plenty of ways to talk to people about stuff, I guess.
Yeah, this sounds to me like maybe some kind of Slack play. If it were to, I haven't tried it though, so I don't really know.
It feels like Slack meets Pinterest.
Yeah.
With less emphasis, with no emphasis on
Wave?
productivity.
Is this what Wave turned into?
Maybe there's some Wave code got ported over there. Yeah, it's possible. Yeah.
TBD.
I guess if you're really into sharing YouTube videos and talking about them, this could be cool. And I do like the fact that they're not saying everybody on either end of the conversation has to download the app. You can just share it with the link. That's great. Applause there.
Yeah, as Dr. Payne in the chat says, Google is too late on this, and I kind of agree, though I haven't played with it, so I can't really say from experience.
They
CNET
also
reports
have something called Space already, the YouTube Space that my wife works at.
Full disclosure.
That was that was
CNET reports Razer is opening its first physical Razer store outside of Asia in San Francisco. It opens Saturday at the Westfield San Francisco Center. The store will sell Razer laptops, keyboards, headsets, and gaming accessories, games, launch new products, stage esports tournaments, and offer free giveaways. Razer also has stores in Bangkok, Taipei, and Manila.
I didn't realize they had so many stores outside of the U.S., but cool that we're getting one here in the U.S. I think this is just another of the this is the new wave. We're going to see brand-specific electronic stores because we like to go into the showroom and we like to play around with the things, but we don't necessarily always want to buy them at the store. And so the brands operating them can benefit from that because they're like, we don't really care if you buy it online. But if you're more likely to buy it because you got to play it in the store, then it's worth us opening these stores.
I'll go check it out this week. I've got some meetings downtown tomorrow that end around 3, so maybe I'll pop over there and see if it's how it looks.
Yeah, record a little impression for us if you do. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah. Oh, it opens Saturday, so we have to wait until next week. I'll still do it.
Next week. Garmin announced the Vivo Smart HR Plus fitness tracker. The new model comes with a GPS radio and can automatically detect and track activities. Sells for $219. Shipping now in black, purple, and blue. Sorry, not black, purple, and blue. Black/shark fin gray, imperial purple/Kona purple, and midnight blue/bolt blue.
Bolt blue. Gotcha.
Bolt blue, the color of bolts that are blue.
Okay. Phone Arena. Phone Arena discovered that the latest beta of WhatsApp for Android includes a video calling option for some users. The feature seems to be enabled or disabled server-side.
Oh, that'd be cool. Video calling in WhatsApp. Apple confirmed Friday to imore.com that yes, indeed, Pinkstone was not imagining it. A small number of users have reported iTunes removing their music library. Apple calls it extremely small. Company has not been able to reproduce the error itself, but it still plans to release an update to iTunes this week that it hopes will fix it. In fact, an update to OS X was released today with interface changes for iTunes and the iTunes Store, but it is unclear if it actually has the fix for Apple Music in it.
Kind of wish it would do that to me just so I could get rid of some of the crap that I never listen to, but it's taking up space on my hard drive and I don't even look at it. Game maker Starbreeze announced a joint venture with Acer Sunday to make and market the Star VR head-mounted display. Star VR plans to provide a larger viewing space and includes Fresnel lenses and dual 5.5-inch Quad HD panel for 5120 by 1440 pixels per eye. It's intended for use in amusement parks and arcades.
A lot of nostalgia around the name Star VR. This is going to play well in arcades and amusement parks, and people are there are a lot of people who are legitimately excited about this. It's not something you're going to be able to buy and take home, it sounds like. Thanks to all those who submitted things we used from our subreddit. Submit stories at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. And if you're like, I don't have time to submit things, just pop over there and take a couple seconds and vote. That helps us quite a bit. SP Sheridan, Steve Io, Abituela Condolce, all of those folks in there submitting things, letting us know what we should talk about on the show. It's very helpful. dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. And that's a look at the headlines. Back, our main topic was submitted by another Jay Martin. It's a story from Washington Post last week about France passing a bill in the lower house that, among many other controversial changes to labor law in France, see the Phileas Club if you want more information on that, amongst all of those other things, would require companies of more than 50 people to be obliged to draw up a charter of good conduct setting out the hours, normally in the evening and the weekends, when staff are not supposed to send or answer email. Now, this is being billed as making it against the law to send or answer email outside of work hours, but there is also no penalty for violating this law. So it's really just a kind of a public service announcement sort of law. Like, you now have to tell people that they shouldn't do this, although there's nothing you can do to stop.
I'm fascinated by the fact that it's companies 50 people and larger. It seems to disincentivize startups from using this law. Like small companies that really have no option but to kind of put
if
the
you're not
nose
going to have
to
a
the
penalty,
grindstone.
why not just make it apply to any business?
Yeah, that's a very good point. This is, I like the direction they're going in here because I think there's a lot of issues in the world today between what they call work-life balance, but at the same time, other researchers pointed out that this potentially could be more stressful for people to wake up on Monday morning and be deluged with hundreds of emails that they weren't able to answer in a timely fashion over the weekend, for example. And I can understand that kind of stress. You don't want the first thing you look at on Monday morning to be an inbox full of things you need to get to. So I like the stress on trying to have balance, but at the same time, I don't know if forcing people to do that is the right kind of implementation.
Yeah, and Big Jim points out several U.S. states have a law that says if you're non-exempt, if you're an hourly employee, that you have to get paid for any time you work with phone calls and emails. So there are other laws pertaining to this. Back in 2014, German Employment Minister Andrea Nahles considered anti-stress legislation banning companies from contacting employees out of hours. It is already illegal in Germany to contact staff during holidays. But John Whittle, who's a researcher at Digital Brain Trust, is quoted in this Washington Post article saying, email is just a medium used to communicate. The real problem is the culture of having to constantly do more and constantly do better than competitors. So on the one hand, you could say, well, this French law has no teeth because there's no penalties. On the other hand, I'm like, well, maybe that's fine because if they pass this law with teeth, then they'd have to update it. Well, now we mean Messenger. Now we mean Snapchat. Now we mean Spaces or whatever.
Yeah, or Slack or whatever, right?
Yeah, exactly. So what needs to be treated is why are we so deluged in communication outside of work hours? What can we do to deal with the fact that there is no natural barrier? It used to be you left work and nobody could get a hold of you, right?
Yes.
And the telephone came along and it was still sort of like, well, that's kind of a burden to pick up someone, call and talk to them. But now with email, you're not bothering anyone. You're just sending them an email. They can look at it whenever they want. But of course, we have developed a culture where we're like, oh, must look at my email right away all the time.
And we've also, I mean, there are companies that try to promote this internally. Slack, I believe, has a work hard, play hard kind of mentality where they want you to work really hard during the day and not really take like 2-hour breaks to go do yoga or do whatever it is you want to do. But at the end of the day, you're supposed to be done. And I think building that kind of thought process from within is a lot healthier than having it come from an external source being like, we don't want you to work on off hours, because then you're like, well, the international competition is going to get a jump on me if we're not putting in as much time as we possibly can. So I don't really know. It falls in line so much with what I've been thinking about in terms of mindfulness and, being able to turn off your crazy monkey brain at the end of the day, and how do we find that sense of peace. And a lot of that is caused by the constant notifications that we receive on our computer and on our mobile devices and our iPads, things that we use for fun and work. So they're always on us. We need to have our phones on us so we can be reached by friends and family and loved ones for those relaxing times. But also that means they're on you for when your boss is trying to get in touch with you at 4 o'clock on a Sunday.
Yeah, I think, because let's take that Slack policy. It comes from a great place, which is to say we don't want to bother people outside of work hours. So during work, just work. Don't spread it out. But that will have its own problem where someone says, yeah, but what if I get inspired at 9 o'clock at night? Am I supposed to ignore my inspiration? I can't put it off until tomorrow. I might forget about it. So
I think that's a different kind of thing. That's a different.
But none of these things are perfect, is what I'm saying. Like you can't really restrict work. It's not the kind of, if we're a bricklayer, we can say, oh, I'll lay bricks from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. with an hour break for lunch. And that's easy to keep track of, right? Are you laying bricks or are you not laying bricks? But with so many creative enterprises, sometimes everybody has a good idea in the off hours, and it would be more efficient if everybody's like, oh, we're in Slack, we're brainstorming, we didn't plan for this to happen. It's serendipity. So I think we need to take responsibility for our own time off. We used to not have to. It used to just be naturally built in. But now I think when you're working and you're working well, keep working, right? But when you hit that wall, I think there should be no culture that makes you feel guilty for saying, you know what, I need to refresh my brain right now.
Oh, yeah, and I agree with you 100%. But I worry that even if you come up with a personal system of managing that kind of behavior, what if your boss doesn't? What if they're just that kind of work driver where they're thinking about this stuff and they just want to offload it off of their brain, so they shoot off that email on Saturday night, not even thinking necessarily that you have to get to it right away, but you get it anyway. And there's Gmail plugins. There's tons of different plugins for email clients that you can say, all right, send this. Even though I'm writing this on Saturday afternoon, don't send this email until Monday morning at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
You can schedule emails out, or you can prevent them from coming in until you're back on work hours.
And I think that's what's happening is we're starting to learn what we need to do in this world where we can, in fact, communicate with anyone all the time if we want to. So, but we shouldn't. What are the new ways of doing it? Is it plugins like that? And we need to create a culture where the boss realizes that it's not okay to expect people to be working all the time, or to be, and that it is okay if you wanted someone to be working right then, and they're like, my brain needs a relaxed time, that there are legitimate times that is, and we need to figure out, well, how do you as a boss tell the difference between somebody who really is just slacking off and not doing their job and someone who legitimately will be more creative and productive if they take a little break right then?
Or at least understand too that just because you don't necessarily think your employee needs to get back to you on that Saturday email thread, they may feel the pressure because you are the boss, that they have to get back to you right away. So having conversations about that, even just saying like, hey, sometimes I send emails on the weekends. Don't feel like you need to get back to those until Monday. Like, it's not important. I just need to like kind of clear my head space. Having that kind of open communication, I think, is important. But at the same time, just the act of sending it is a distraction from someone relaxing. Just receiving that email, even if they don't think they have to get to it until Monday, it's still going to be top of mind for them. So I think the best course of action is to just either delay the sending or use some kind of program that prevents them from being sent until you're back on work hours. Yeah,
hopefully at some point we develop an ethics, or I guess not an ethics, but a what is it called?
Like a code of conduct almost.
Yeah, code of conduct.
I sounded like Sean Connery just then because I was drinking water and trying to talk at the same time. Code of conduct.
But just a way, manners. We need to have manners that says, like, if it's this kind of communication, you all understand that it's not time sensitive and the people will get to it at 8 a.m. on Monday morning. If it's this conversation, you understand this is an emergency, it's unusual, and it needs to be attended to right away, and you won't abuse that. you'll only use it in those situations. And we haven't developed that yet. Etiquette. Thank you. Yes.
Etiquette.
I'm thinking of etiquette. Thank you, Roger. There needs to be an etiquette around communication developed.
So I don't know if it needs to be a law. I just think it needs to be ingrained into the corporate environment and ethos, and just done that way.
And honestly, again, leaving aside everything else in this labor law, which is extremely controversial in France, like I said, see the Phileas Club, great episode about that. This, to me, is fine because it doesn't have penalties. It's sort of a soft step towards saying, hey, companies, you need to take the first step in getting people thinking about this. And maybe that's not such a bad thing. Our pick of the day comes from Brandon, who wrote us in reaction to Dish announcing their plans to be able to dispatch people to fix your phones, send people to your house to fix your phones. And Brandon said, well, that's great, but some folks aren't going to want to let people into their house. They aren't going to want people coming to their homes to fix a phone. And he's like, he does not work for Office Depot, but he says Office Depot now fixes smartphones in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Texas, and certain parts of California and Arizona. They have same-day service if you bring it in by noon, grade A parts with 12-month warranty. They'll do price matching, and associates can fix iPhones 5S and C, 6 Plus, and Samsung's S4 through S6. If they don't have a part, or if the customer has a different phone, they can do a mail-in repair option as well. But Office Depot isn't the only one doing this. There's a lot of places. We've got 2 computer repair stores near our place that offer phone fixing now. That's a big thing for them now that they're not selling as many desktops anymore. It's a great thing. It's a great option to look at. There may be a place that's not too far from you that if you've got a cracked screen or something, you can go and even get a warranted repair.
A perfect option if you don't have kids to fix it for you.
Yes, exactly. Send your picks to us, folks. Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. You can find more picks at dailytechnewsshow.com/picks. We got some messages of the day. Veronica, you want to read our first one?
Sure thing. Hello, Tom and the DTNS crew. Last week you asked if people were still using BlackBerries. Here is my story. I recently inherited my brother's BlackBerry Leap. My intention was to back up the Leap and root it so I could install Android on it. I haven't gotten around to backing it up and fully rooting it yet. What I have done is to get the Play Store loaded on the Leap, which for the most part gives me the apps I'm looking for. Eventually, I'm planning on rooting the Leap to put Android on it. Without the Play Store, the Leap has limited use for me. With the Play Store, it is a much more useful device. Christopher in warmer than usual, Edmonton.
I love these BlackBerry stories. And by the way, I'm not reading all of the ones we've gotten, but we've gotten couple dozen of them now in various levels, from tongue-in-cheek to serious I love by BlackBerry. So just goes to show, if a company still exists and makes products, there are still going to be people out there that love them. That's some kind of rule of the internet. I don't know which number. And then Kevin wrote in and said, I'm part of a collective podcast made up of stay-at-home dads, geekdad.me, and I'm going to the Bay Area Maker Faire this weekend, Friday through Sunday, looking for other stay-at-home SAHSs, stay-at-home dads, anyway, looking for other sashes or makers with interesting ideas to share on an upcoming podcast. So he's looking for people to chat with, trying to get the word out as quickly as possible, as Maker Faire has surprised me with press credentials, making this a bit more official than what I had originally planned. And he thought our audience was a prime group. So we'll have contact information for him in our show notes at dailytechnewsshow.com, or you can go to sahdpod.com. It must be a typo then, because stay at home dads, SAHD makes sense. Or follow SAHDpod on Twitter.
Awesome. I'm not going to make it to Maker Faire this weekend, unfortunately.
That's too bad.
Yeah, but it's always a good time.
Carl Heath, whose podcast Patrick Beja and I were guests on, is going to be there as well. So I actually sent this to Carl as well. Looks like Bay Area Maker Faire is going to be hopping with
good
podcasters.
Times. Good times.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Veronica Belmont. Tell us a little more about your bots.
Okay. I'm the admin of two little communities that are related together, botwiki.org and botmakers.org. Botwiki.org is a great place for tutorials and resources about bots, everything from art bots to Slack bots to Telegram bots. So if you want to, we're going to be taking volunteers soon, too, to help flesh out the wiki a little bit. So let me know if you're interested in helping out with that. And botmakers.org is a Slack channel on Slack for people who want to talk about bots. So anything from enthusiasts like me to people who are creating them or just interested in learning more can hop on the Slack and jump in on the conversation.
I love that. Botwiki, BOTWIKI.org.
Yes, and we have cool shirts and stickers. I'm wearing a shirt right now.
I want one of those shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to get one. Hey, thanks everybody for supporting this show. We have shirts in our store as well, dailytechnewsshow.com/store. And we wouldn't exist if it weren't for all of you. You guys are the best. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We cannot ever thank you enough. If you're not supporting the show yet and you get some value out of it, all we ask is you give a little value back. Go to dailytechnewsshow.com/support or patreon.com/DTNS and just like give $1. Every bit helps, and it makes it so that we can continue to do the show. We got lots of plans, folks. Lots of plans. In fact, if you give $5 a month or more, you get the treasure chest, in which you will find an episode of Tech and Travel from Chris Christensen. We'll also have it at the end of this audio show as well. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. You can give us a call, 512-59-DAILY. That's 593-2459. Catch the show live Monday through Friday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern at alphageekradio.com and diamondclub.tv. And visit our website, dailytechnewsshow.com. Back tomorrow, 2 hours later for the live show with Patrick Beja from Japan. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Dang, that was an efficient episode.
Burned through it, huh?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I tried to limit conversation on the headline to kind of make it flow a little bit.
Yeah, but
better.
it didn't feel like it.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I know we both did that, but it still felt like, I don't know, felt good.
Was it Beatmaster says shortest DTNS episode yet?
No, I know it's not, because we've had others that are under 30 minutes, and this is 29:41. So
Titles?
yes, please.
All right. Bezos brands. Happy Belly, what Amazon wants you to have after buying their food.
That's long.
That's actually,
Terrible.
isn't that? No, that's not the name of an Indian movie. Bollywood movie.
that whole thing is the name of an Indian movie.
No, the Happy Belly part. It was Delhi Belly. Was it Delhi? I don't remember. In case Google Waves, hello to Spaces. You may email friends between 9 a.m. and 7 p.m. Email manners matter. Okay, are you not use flat? Are you okay? Are
If you don't like it, you don't have to read it.
Email manners matter. I kind of like.
Yeah, I like that one.
There's another French one I saw somewhere. Extraneous etiquette. No. Let's see, that wasn't it. Oh, France will not surrender off hours.
Nah,
I thought that was pretty funny.
unless you're French, then it's not. Actually, Patrick probably still finds that funny. I like email manners matter. Should we go with that?
Yeah, that's my vote.
I have been always of the opinion never to respond to emails until Monday over the weekend if it's work related.
I can't help myself sometimes.
I'll look at it.
I can't afford to not do that right now, so like I have to answer.
Well, that's what got me when I was first reading this, and before I realized there weren't any penalties for non-compliance, I was like, well, but the way I work is not. I don't work for a company, right? Like, I work with a bunch of independent people who are on their own schedules, working at different times. Like, if I need to email Brian Brushwood on Sunday night about cord killers the next day, there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, yeah, I can see why you're a boss at a big company, and maybe that's why they put the 50 people limit. I don't know.
It's, to be honest, it's one of those things that I think, like, for example, in your case, Tom, it's like everyone just has, like, you know, you set up the limits, like, you know, hey, I'm going to be out. I won't be able to read it. Like, I think I used to do that with emails. It's like, hey, I won't be able to read your emails, like any replies until such and such date.
Yeah, I used to do that too.
But I think part of it is, and I know in some corporations, it's just kind of expected that whenever you get an email, you reply to it.
Yeah.
And I've always like kind of like, I'll get to it when I get to it.
I definitely reply slower over weekends and in evenings, you know. And there are times when I just kind of put the computer away at like 8 o'clock, and then I find out people were slacking me or messaging me or whatever, and I'm like, oh crap, I wasn't around.
You know, if it's an emergency, I'll say just text me if it's an emergency.
Yeah.
But if it's not an emergency, send it by email. I'll get it to you. I'll give you a reply on Monday. It's one of those weird things that I've noticed that it really depends on who the boss or the manager is, because some people are like incredible, uptight about having a reply to each of you. It's like, did you see my email? It's like, yeah, I saw it. It was a Saturday night. I was taking my kid out to the game. I'm not gonna be.
That's what I mean about it. Like, there needs to be a culture where you that's not an okay response. The response needs to be like, oh, okay, well, this is a communication channel where I don't expect immediate responses, and this is.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be clear.
Righto. Righto.
100%.
Elephant
Would
faithful.
state
100%.
theory again.
What was that from?
5 stars.
Elephant. 100%.
I think I almost brought this up in the show, but I think it also relates. A related problem is, how do I get a response from someone? Like, if I do need a response, some people, if I text message them, they don't get back to me for a while. Some people, if I text message them, that means this is urgent. And then it'll be like, well, why did you text message me that? So there's no agreement on like, what are the ways we should all contact each other?
Yeah.
And what does it mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really have that problem too much, but I can see why it would be a problem in a work scenario.
Like with Eileen, I almost never text message her, but when I do, it's usually like, oh, I kind of need something. And if I text message her during the day, I won't hear back from her for hours.
That's weird, because I hear back from her pretty quickly. You just have to ask her the right questions, Tom.
I see. Most of my questions are not about masks.
That's exactly what you have to ask her about.
Yeah, okay.
Or like, what do you do with all the tiny spatulas that come
What's
with
the
all
difference
Korean
between a foot
skincare
mask and a Korean? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, okay. Well, that mystery solved.
I know they used to give, my roommate used to have a pager because he was an EMT, that the company gave him. And like even though he wasn't on the job, he was on call. And so as part of the job, you would have it on for like the 24-hour period. And then if it went off, you'd go. So there was like, that was like at the beginning, that was just like, okay, this is what is expected.
Well, and that's why I never used anyone's pager. Like Patrick Norton had a pager back in the Tech TV days. I would never use it because it felt like, oh, that's like an emergency. That's like, life or death situation. You use a pager. And it's funny, like phones have always been like, well, don't call during dinner time, and all of this. And they've become even more, even though they're more ubiquitous, it's even more like, oh, I text someone. Is it okay to call you right now?
Yeah.
That's so funny to me.
Because there's a level of involvement the person has to be in.
Yeah, but they just wouldn't pick. I mean, really, if someone calls you and then you don't want to talk to them, you just don't pick up the phone.
Yeah.
It's actually more disruptive to text them, is it okay to call you right now? But it feels more polite somehow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, can I call you? I'm sure the upcoming generation will have a solution for it.
Generation. What?
Back to pay phones. For everyone.
Yeah.
That was great. Someone said, do you say IQ or ICU?
ICU.
ICU said full disclosure.
And
I get it, because I made fun of, because I talk to your wife more than you do.
Boom.
Boom. Boom. Drop.
Still got it.
Oh, and it's not Fresnel, it's Fresnel lens. What are you doing, juggling?
I'm just throwing this. I have this thing. I don't even know what it's from. Oh, I know what it's from. Well, I just looked at it more closely, and then I realized what it was.
You just helped her.
It's a spare
solve a mystery.
like footy thing that goes on my
Your footy.
It's a footy thing that goes on the metal file holder thing that I have on top of my whatever, and I play with it a lot. It's like the thing.
a bumper.
It's a
to keep
bumper,
it-
yeah, to
yeah.
keep from scraping a table. And I play with it constantly when I'm at my desk. And like a few times I've been like, I should throw that out, or I should put that where it belongs. And then every time I'm like, but then what will I fiddle with on my desk while I'm doing other things?
When I used to do Tech News Today in Petaluma, there was a nickel, like in a little depression in the wooden desk, and I would play with that every time I sat there. And then
Yeah.
one day, the nickel was gone.
No.
Yeah,
I
like
was
I'd be
like-
really upset if this disappeared. I'd be like, where'd it go?
And it was silly. It was like, who took the nickel? Like, and then I was like, why would they even take the nickel?
Yeah, who needs
But it
that?
probably just bounced off or something. Like it probably
They
wasn't
probably
even
moved
taken.
it because
And what I
it's
like is
causing-
that it clamps to my thumb and like my fingers, so it sits there, and it's always there.
It's like a security bumper
Yeah, for my brain.
for your brains.
We have BotWiki stickers. BotWiki.
BotWiki.
Ryan's like,
So cool
why are you doing this? Are you getting paid for it? I'm like, no,
because it's fun.
because it's fun. I like it.
Some things are fun.
Sometimes. Tom's like, stop spending all this time on BotWiki and do sword and laser stuff. To which I say, Tom, I am.
That
I
is
did that
not-
today.
Yeah, I know. I would definitely not say that, especially today. You put my book in the collection.
Got it. Yeah. I cut your. Let's be honest. I put you over. I put you over this week.
Oh yeah, no, you totally did. Like it. What was I at? I was at 7.
You're 714. No,
714. Really?
No. It was. You were 30. You needed 36 more pre-orders.
Oh, that's right. I was. Yeah. I was 722
Something.
or something.
Right.
Yeah. And then Veronica tweeted it, and by the next morning at 8:50 a.m.
Stoked.
So good.
So
I was
good.
sitting there
So
at the
good.
Korean barbecue place in Koreatown, like while you were texting me all of those numbers. By the way.
Oh, she accepted. So now she's in the Deus Hex Machina.
Oh, we have a new
The
collection.
collection
Yeah, so I'm not even the newest member.
Now, I should tweet this out.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh man.
We got a new. Go to Sword and Laser.
I'm gonna post this on the Sword and Laser account.
Cool.
And they're lucky too, because they get like Twitter cards with ink shares. So it looks really good when you post links to ink shares on Twitter. You don't have to do like an image.
Nice. Good work, Matt and Adam, and everyone. I got my email from Avalon, like all the things that I need to fill out.
Oh, good.
That was kind of fun. I was like, oh, this is Avalon emailing me about me, not Jim or JF or
Right.
yeah. All right, we are going off the air forever.
Bye, y'all.
No, just for a little bit. We'll see you tomorrow. Remember, live audience 2 hours later for Patrick Beja. Bye.
Patrick Beja.